Yeah, back to discussing this ether energy. So now, what is the ether then if you're ether? And this constantly changing gaseous state. Well, ether is the control of everything, which I call darkness. Everything reside in ether. Ether is the substance that gives life to everything. So in your body's purest form, it itself is ether. And for you to see it, work with it, understand what ether is in reference and to matter, to spirit, you have to see them as three separate substances. And seeing three substances is like seeing light, blur, and glare. Three different substances, but still of the same. You understand? So now what do this signify, right? For you to understand, ether now is the true controller of you and is the true you. So say like you go into meditation. You don't actually think that you could go someplace and go do this and go do that, because the real meditation, when you go into meditation, or what you call astral projection, you're going inside your body. You're going throughout each cell, throughout the nerves, throughout your heart, throughout your vertebrae, but it looked like another world because it is another world. Everybody is attached to this thing called the atom. The atom is the stellar man. That's a whole long science way before anything came into existence of this atom that they talking about. But everybody's attached to it in the form of a body. It's the stellar man in you. With it, it's like you take a hologram, and inside the hologram of atom, which would be considered and is the universe on the whole, not the darkness in it and this and that, is actually a whole being. It's standing like in the Vitruvian Man position that this guy painted. What's his name? Van Gogh or whatever. Now this actually now gives us the ability to be holographic in our psychic self. That's why we have another part of us. Every part of this world is like a hologram. What's up? All right. So this hologram that's inside of us makes us able to be like cells, where no matter how much you divide the hologram, it's still a whole. And so that's what you are as far as like an ethereal body now. Now, once you unite with this ethereal body through meditation, and from what you're understanding now that you have the 48 constellations, that's the most mapped out. And it is true because I went to a lot of them, seeing them as star systems, going through everywhere, and not through a form of projecting myself and thinking that I want to go see these things. These was done unconsciously against my will. Everything I do, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think I'm going anywhere. I don't predict to go anywhere. I'm just a witness to whatever I close my eyes or with my eyes open I see. I don't judge it. I don't think of what it is. So it takes me to where I'm supposed to go, to my destiny, without me intervening on it with my thoughts or my expectations. So I learn from it. So basically now, that's why I bear witness to all the different constellations. So now that's inside of us. Each one now, as you can see, has the Virgo with the woman, and then you have the bull with Taurus and all that. These are significant because they have these gaseous ethereal bodies, and the orbs or the planets that you see is the resonating frequency bell or tone, like a Tesla generator that makes them be able to live through these, you could call chakras. So they're very much real as far as ether is concerned. It's a real energy that when you pass away, you can't die because your energy, so you inhibit this ether, which is like unity of subatomic particles. All type of little particles is always involved in it. So with the ether energy now, you're able to take the ether energy and move like in a unison of hugging a circle. Meaning, like, if you're here in this part of the sphere of the world, you also everywhere else in the part of the sphere of the world, because look at them as like a graph of dots that connect all over around the world, but inside of it is you too. You got those same dots inside of you. And so those dots give you a fiber optic connection or a spiritual connection, whatever you want to call it, quantum connection, string theory connection to all that is. And that's all of it now is like a line that you would say is DNA, genetics. But genetics is not real. Genetics is the actual pathway that they travel on. That's their, you could say that would be their residue, their deposit, their urine, their waste. But they're actually just light, which is energy. And so that's why it's constantly braiding. Your DNA is constantly braiding, and that's the residue that's left over. So you get a greater understanding of how the ether works. You're always in the ether creating your physical reality. Once the ether leaves from over the physical, the mineral world decays the body. You understand? It also takes away the magnetic field that keep you protected, so that now you get sick, diseases. Everything has to do with the ether body, but they don't teach you this. With teaching you the ether body, we'll have to teach you a new science. You got to look at it like this. If you had to learn ether, you would have to learn then, take for instance, there's no such thing as, all right, I'm not going to say no such thing, because it is in this reality. But for me, 1 + 1 do not equals 2. To me, 1 + 1 equals 4. I don't know how I see it that way, but everything to me is like that. You know, when you look at it like that, 1 to me is not 1, because nothing is 1. Everything like you is one body, has a polarity to it, as right as left, just like the brain has a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. So when I see 1, I see 2, because I divide it into polarities. Now that you divide it into polarities, it'll be the same like taking 1 and going positive side of 1 and the negative side of 1. You take the positive side of 1 and you take the negative side of 1, and you still get 2. And that's how 1 becomes 2. And then that 2 now, you add it with that, that's how it becomes a 4. But you don't take the 1 and see the 1 by itself. To me, 1 would be 0, because you would take the negative and the 0 and the positive and the 0, and those two will add up to equal 1. That's where you get 1. So you will never see a 0 unless you were going to equate it now to God, to the absolute, which is why they made up their felonious number system. Their system of numbering, it can't render to the ether zone because of that number system that I'm telling you about, because everything is in duality.